Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Welcome back to my YouTube channels once more. Timothy's Reaction is my name. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channels, like, share, and comment. So the following video about Ibrahim Traore sending a warning message to a PM of Jamaica to stop entertaining these Western countries. But first, let's watch this video until the end, and then I'll come back with more comment.
Bonjour à tous.
Hello, everyone.
Je souhaite donc la bienvenue
I would like to welcome all the young people from the 13 regions who are in the room and those who have not been able to access the room.
tous les jeunes venus d'Afrique.
To all the young people from Africa, to accompany the youth, welcome to the land of integral men.
J'irai rendre un hommage
I would like to pay a vibrant tribute to our strong security and defense forces
qui se battent jour et nuit pour que
who
le
fight day
Burkina
and night
soit
for Burkina Faso
debout.
to be and remain beautiful.
Je souhaite que nous prenions une minute pour prier.
I would like us to take a minute to pray for those who are on the ground and also for the rest of the souls of those who have fallen for our country.
Je vous remercie.
Thank you.
Rendons grâce à Dieu qui a permis
Thank
que nous nous
you.
retrouvions
Let us give
ici
thanks to God for
aujourd'hui
allowing
en
us to be
la
here today
célébration de la
to
Journée
celebrate the
internationale
International
de la
Youth
jeunesse
Day in good
en bonne
health.
santé. Je le dis très souvent parce que
I say this very often because human beings often forget God when they have no problem,
lorsqu'il est dans le bonheur.
when they are in
Quand il y a les
happiness.
soucis, c'est là qu'on se rappelle de Dieu.
But when worries come,
Rendez grâce tous les jours pour le
this is
souffle
when
de
we
vie,
remember
pour la
God.
santé.
Give thanks every day for the breath of life and for health. Youth,
Jeunesse du Burkina,
youth from
jeunesse
Burkina
d'Afrique.
Faso,
La jeunesse,
youth
cette
from
phase de la
Africa,
vie,
youth, this phase of life where we have enough strength,
cette énergie,
enough energy, like the paraphrase, the slammer that has just passed.
la jeunesse,
Youth is the time when we have spent enough time.
nous devons profiter du temps qui nous est donné
We must take advantage of the time we have been given,
pour atteindre nos objectifs, pour changer
use
le
the
monde,
energy necessary to
changer
reach
notre
our
monde,
goals,
changer le monde des autres positivement.
to change the world, to change our world, to change the world of others positively.
Les enfants souhaitent grandir pour être jeunes.
Children,
Personnes âgées
children want to grow up to be young.
devenir jeunes. Tout le monde veut être jeune.
Older people want to grow up to be young.
La jeunesse,
Everyone wants to be young. Youth is a blessing,
alors profitez de la jeunesse pour faire œuvre utile.
so take advantage of youth to do useful
Voilà
work.
pourquoi quand je vois dans le thème choisi,
This is why when I see in the chosen theme, the first two words that come to mind,
intégration,
integration,
sécurité.
security.
L'Afrique fait face à de nombreux défis
Africa faces many challenges,
et on doit se poser des questions.
and we must ask
La
ourselves
jeunesse est-elle
questions.
un atout ou un handicap pour le développement des nations?
Is youth an asset or a handicap for the development of nations?
Et vous la savez. Les pays
The answer is simple and unequivocal, and you know it. Developed countries mostly have an aging population, and currently many countries have launched programs to rejuvenate their populations.
L'Afrique a cette chance d'avoir-
Africa has this chance to have a very young population,
Mais pourquoi l'Afrique n'est-elle pas développée?
but why is Africa not developed?
Nous devrions donc nous pencher sur la question de comprendre pourquoi l'Afrique
We must therefore look at the question of why Africa has a young population and why it is not developed, and why developed countries seek to rejuvenate their populations.
Il faut que nous arrivions donc à transformer notre jeunesse en un véritable atout et un moteur.
We must transform our youth into a real asset and engine of development for our continent.
Pour ce faire, nous avons
To do this,
besoin
we need integration.
d'intégration. Nous avons besoin de sécurité.
We need security and development. We need to unite.
Certes, vous entendrez parler de
You will
l'Union
hear about the African Union.
Oui, elle existe.
Yes, it exists, but what is the effect of the African Union? We cannot talk about integration and not talk about the African Union, because it is this organization that should unite us, create real integration. But we regret to see this war that persists on the African continent, that kills millions of young people, and that this organization, which has the head of state provided with an army, cannot organize itself to support certain countries. The Union is not just a word, the Union is a symbol. And we young people should learn from this situation to unite us to make integration a reality. I was unpleasantly surprised when Ethiopia, which is the seat of the African Union, experienced a conflict, and when the Prime Minister announced to close the university in Addis Ababa to face the threat, I did not see the action of the African Union to protect this seat. Western states, for the most part, saw Addis Ababa fall, fold their backpacks, and leave. Ethiopia fought, found an internal solution, and lives more or less in peace today. The children of Congo have been dying for years. Several other conflicts, such as in Sudan, exist on the continent. We would have liked to see the African Union generate the strength and all the strategies necessary to support its states so that they can find peace. We will not even talk about us here in the Sahel. For nearly 10 years, the Sahel has been the scene of international terrorism. But we see no support from these organizations to find a solution to this problem. Worse, a few days ago, a foreign country in Africa openly announced that it had supported and participated in a cowardly, terrorist, and barbaric attack against the forces of our confederation. The African Union did not say a word to condemn this interference. The African Union did not say a word to condemn this interference of a foreign state in Africa in the internal affairs of our states. I would like them to hear this shout and get out of their silence and take action so that the youth can believe in the African Union. We must unite. The only way to unite is to talk to each other, to understand each other, and to be able to establish the basis of this unity. Young people, let me tell you that to unite, there are three words, three big screws that we must ban from our behavior and our lives. I am talking about cowardice, treachery, and incompetence. We must ban these three words from our way of life. I am going to explain why. Cowardice covers many screws. A coward is always afraid. And when we are afraid, we become slaves. We bend. We lick our boots. Our ancestors were not cowardly. And if we are cowardly, our children will ask us questions. Imagine that in Burkina Faso we refuse to fight and we accept to submit, to live in slavery. Tomorrow our children will grow up and they will ask themselves questions. Have our parents been cowardly to leave us in slavery? Whether we are alive or dead, we will feel it. Cowardice is afraid, and the imperialists have understood that they are trying to scare the leaders so that they become cowards. Because when you are a coward, all the other screws can be born. We do everything so that we are afraid. They come to our palaces, they threaten us directly or with veiled threats. Of course, we respond as it is necessary. They try to make us understand. They take examples every time. They tell us, you know, Thomas Sankara tried to do this, but he is dead. President Haitian tried to do this, but he is dead. Gaddafi tried to do this, but he is dead. These are words that we take in a veiled way to scare us. And we often see some young people trying to take our path in a different way. We can hear them say, such and such person ruled like this, he is in his country. Such and such person ruled like this, he is in prison. All this to try to scare us so that we become cowards. But I think they didn't understand one thing. When we say country or death, we win. It's not just a sentence. It's not just a sentence. It all makes sense. We are not afraid and we will never be afraid.
Ils ont fait peur sûrement à beaucoup de chefs d'État africains.
They probably scared a lot of African heads of state. They probably scared a lot of African heads of state. You see, often when we express ourselves or when we have the opportunity to be in certain situations abroad, we often say something to call on African heads of state to wake up and take care of our youth so that we can start our real development. So that we can start our real development. We are often misunderstood. Some have publicly opposed us. Some have publicly opposed us because they feel indexed. But I can assure you, youth, that when we find ourselves in the corridors, these same heads of state tell us that we are on the right track and that this is what needs to be done so that Africa can rise again. So we ask them questions like, why don't you do like us? Why don't you support us? Some tell us that they have the means, and some tell us that they can't. Dear elders, African heads of state, at the end of this podium, I would like to say that African peoples are the most peaceful. That African peoples are the most peaceful. When you recognize a wrong, you have to tell the people. When you recognize a wrong, you have to tell the people. We are not afraid to come out and tell the people we are sorry. We have been compromised. We have been mistreated, we have been compromised by several things, and we ask for forgiveness, and we come back on the right path and to start working really for the independence of our states and our emancipation. And I think it is possible. If we remain in this posture of fear, we will be cowardly and history will judge us. Our children will ask questions, our grandchildren will ask questions. We are writing history. There is no place for cowardice. If our ancestors had been cowardly, we would not be here. Do you remember? I will give you an example of the people of Bamileke and Bassa. I want to talk about the Cameroonians, the union of the population of Cameroon, which since the 1950s has started a relentless fight against the Poles, but they have been massacred. The French colonial armies, in turn, have dispatched infantry battalions, tanks, helicopters, have annihilated anti-village. The most inhuman tortures have taken place during this period. You can do research on what they call the cart or the Bakasima. Hundreds of thousands of people have been decimated in Africa because they dared to ask their settlers to leave their land. A civil war that lasted several years. That is to say that people dared to face the imperialists with their bare hands so that we could be here. There is no reason why we cannot face the imperialists so that our future generations can live. There are many examples throughout Africa of brave men who refused to be cowardly, who fought, who faced. Well, let us be worthy of these people. We are their descendants, and let us be worthy of them. A coward cannot be worthy. Let us not be cowards, young Africans, because a coward is always a traitor. And it goes hand in hand. They will try to frighten us so that we become cowards. And if we are cowards, we will betray. We must ban the treachery of our habits. Africans have been traitors so that the slave trade succeeds in Africa. It is because Africans have been traitors that colonization has been able to sustain in Africa. Let us question history. We will see. Lumumba, Patrice Lumumba, was betrayed because he dared to hold his head. And these same beautiful televisions came to the Congo for a few bids extended to individuals in the Congo for an interview to please their population. And you were able to follow that. Lumumba bothered us. He is dead. We are happy. It is treachery. Many other heroes have fallen so that we are here today. And it is a technique of imperialism to frighten others by taking action to really create terror. It has not started today. I will give you the example of a warrior who fought, Victor Biakaboda. Read it and you will understand. He came from a family of chiefs. No chiefdom given by the colonizer. He was a worthy child. He studied in Senegal, I believe. He became a doctor in Guinea. And when the RDA was created, he went to the Ivory Coast region to fight against imperialists, against invaders, against the colonizer. He tried to organize the Ivorian society. Everywhere, people began to speak up. There was a general in his time, Pichu, who massacred the Ivorian population so that this spirit of freedom could never germinate. He continued his fight alongside Fewrc Lix Ufeboigny. They fought. But the most violent was Victor Biakaboda. He represented a threat to the imperialists. What did he do? In addition to massacring the people who demonstrated, one night they killed him in an atrocious way next to Bois-Flancy. A few hours later, when the people of Dimbakro heard the murder, they marched, they demonstrated. They were massacred by the colonial army. History was killed, the facts are there. After his death, which scared FOC Lix Ufeboigny, they called him and told him, if you continue the fight, you will meet the same fate. He was afraid and he joined imperialism. He was appointed minister in France and later he came to take the reins of the Ivorian Accord. They used him to eliminate many other people who dared to raise their voices. I think Thomas Sankara is a good example. If you are afraid, you will be cowardly and you will be a traitor. Never be afraid. The fight must continue. There are many other examples around the world. And there is this phenomenon that they have also used for a long time and that they continue to use. You see, some individuals, for example, have found themselves in other countries and created a so-called parallel government to the Malian government. You have heard this story. It is a technique that has existed for a long time. I will give you the example of Ahmed Chalabi, Iraq. This math teacher, who was even in the Iraqi government, was recaptured by the imperialists, and he formed this semblance of parallel government in Iraq, in the United States. And he was used to be the sheep of sacrifice, because it was to him that it was said that Saddam Hussein was developing weapons of mass destruction, and he did it. They used him, and this Talibi was used to kill millions of children in Iraq and destroy Iraq. And do you know what was the fate of Chalabi? One evening after an interview, he said that he knew that the CIA was on his back. A few hours later, he was found dead in his bed, dead of a heart attack. If you betray, you will have macabre endings. That's how it is. Imperialism has no friends. Imperialism uses you. And when it finishes using you, it does what it wants with you. Follow my gaze. You understand what I'm talking about. It has always been like this. The third vice that I invite you to leave is incompetence. I'm coming back to the word of the Islamist who walked on my tongue. Incompetence. You understand what I'm talking about. Incompetence is a very dangerous phenomenon that they use to destroy African society. In our administrations, there is a lot of incompetence. Let's recognize it. Incompetence have a lot of space next to imperialism. Because incompetence can take over the development of a country. Incompetence can lead you to doubt yourself. Incompetents love ease. Incompetents love everything for themselves. Incompetents don't like those who are competent. They don't like those who innovate, those who seek. Incompetents are dangerous. When you are enlightened, incompetents don't like you. When you want to innovate, incompetents don't like you. Incompetents only recognize those who are competent, and they will fight him until his last breath. Because he is afraid of those who are competent. Seek knowledge. Seek knowledge and work. Work hard to be competent. Ban incompetence. Because through distractions that we want to make us adopt, we become incompetent. I'll give you an example. Social networks are the places where information is published today. People are informed through the internet. A young man who publishes an article on his farm, or an agricultural project or a scientific project may not have 1,000 views. But a young man who publishes on futility has millions of views. As the young slammer said, we want to waste your time on futility. Be aware. Let's focus on work and seek knowledge. Let's seek competence. It's good to be distracted, but we must work first before being distracted. Seek knowledge, otherwise you'll waste your time doing nothing.
Cherchez la connaissance, sinon vous perdrez du temps à ne rien faire. Et la jeunesse,
Youth is the time when you must use your time wisely.
il faut exploiter son temps à bon escient. Les impérialistes le savent.
The imperialists know this.
Ils vont multiplier tout ce qui est événement de distraction. Ils vont multiplier tout ce qui est
That's why they multiply all events of distraction.
travail pour que vous soyez des incompétents.
They multiply all events that can distract you from work so that you become incompetent. When you fall asleep, you choose the incompetent to lead the important structures. You have no choice but to fold. Let's not be incompetent. Let's seek knowledge.
Les incompétents se cachent souvent derrière des mots.
Incompetents often hide behind words. They use the terms democracy and freedom without realizing what they mean.
Camarades, la démocratie est un état
Democracy is a state of mind as much as youth is a state of mind.
Ces soi-disant démocrates,
Whether you're a Democrat or not,
comment est-ce qu'on peut
how can you impose democracy by killing millions of people?
C'est de la dictature, ça, ce n'est pas de la démocratie. Ça ne
It's a
s'impose pas.
dictatorship, not democracy. You can't impose it.
Ceux-là qui se disent démocrates, mais regardez, nous avons
Those who
vu
call
des scènes
themselves
où on a
Democrats
empêché
have
des
seen
gens de
scenes
rentrer
where
dans des
people were
assemblées.
prevented from joining
On a vu des
assemblies.
scènes où des forces ont débarqué dans des assemblées pour obliger
We've seen
les
scenes
députés
where
à prendre
forces
des
landed in
textes.
assemblies
On a
to
vu
force
des scènes
deputies to take texts.
plus terribles que ça.
We've seen more terrible scenes where people kill their demonstrators. But they call themselves Democrats, and we're called Perseus.
Si c'est ça la démocratie, je répète. nous
If that's
ne voulons pas de cette
democracy, I
démocratie.
repeat, we don't want this democracy.
Et quand vous voyez souvent les incompétents,
And when you see
ils ne
incompetence,
cherchent pas à savoir quelle est la signification du
they
mot
don't seek to
démocratie
know
en
what the
réalité.
real meaning of the word
Ils s'accrochent
democracy
juste
is.
à la définition qu'il lui a donnée l'impérialisme et il se met
They cling to the definition given to them by imperialism and start talking about democracy without really knowing the basics. That's incompetence.
Regardez le monde pour redéfinir la
You have to know,
démocratie que nous le voulons.
look at the world to redefine democracy as we want it in Africa.
Les incompétents se cachent derrière les libertés.
Incompetence hides behind freedom. Remember, there is no individual freedom. It's a fact.
C'est un fait.
Do you really think everyone is free? Freedom is collective. As long as we live in a society with rules, freedom is collective.
Avec des règles, la liberté est collective. Parce que si vous ne respectez pas les règles,
Because if you don't respect the rules, you can't live in society.
si vous êtes libre de parler comme
If you're
vous
free
voulez,
to speak as you please, the other is free to answer as he
de vous
pleases.
répondre comme il veut,
That would be disorder.
ça sera du désordre. Si vous êtes libre de
If
rouler
you're
dans la
free to
rue et
walk
de
the
passer
streets
le
and
feu
pass
rouge
traffic
comme vous voulez,
lights as you
l'autre est
please,
libre de passer aussi et de vous cogner.
the other is free to pass by and
Vous
hit you.
comprenez que si
You understand
la
that if
liberté
individual
individuelle prend
freedom
le dessus,
takes over,
nous sommes
we are in
dans
a
une
society of
désordre.
disorder.
Voilà pourquoi il y a des règles dans la société.
That's
Les
why
règles,
there are
tout le monde
rules
doit
in
les
society,
respecter. Et là, on parle de liberté collective.
and everyone has to respect the
Donc,
rules.
certains se donnent le droit de parler de leur liberté individuelle.
That's why we're talking about collective freedom. Some people have the right to speak about their individual freedom, but they don't care about others. I think that's also part of incompetence,
Ils s'arrogent les droits que peut-être les États les ont donnés.
because they don't try to understand. They make up the rights given by the states to serve and do everything for themselves, neglecting the freedom of others.
On pense à la liberté d'autrui.
No, freedom is collective. Before we act, we think about the freedom of others, and we shouldn't transcend the freedom of others. So we need to have a reserve. And once we have a reserve, individual freedom doesn't exist. Freedom is collective, and we need to have this culture of collective freedom.
Cherchons donc la connaissance, lisons.
So let's seek knowledge, let's read, let's interrogate history. Don't read the history they wrote in their favor.
Cherchez la connaissance à travers plusieurs sources et vous comprendrez.
Seek knowledge through several sources, and you will understand in history who fought for Africa, how we must fight to continue this struggle of our ancestors.
Et je ne terminerai pas mes propos sans faire
And
un
I
tour de
won't
gueule
finish my
encore
words without making a
au volet de la
statement about communication.
Parce que, comme je le dis, c'est l'arme fatale de l'impérialisme. Et vous, jeunes,
Because, as I
vous devez
said,
tout
it's
faire
the fatal weapon of
pour
imperialism.
savoir distinguer le vrai du faux. Nous
And you young
continuerons à
people,
démonter
you must do
les
everything to
mensonges
distinguish
des
the true
médias
from the false.
impérialistes
We will
qui essaient
continue
de
to
toujours
dismantle the
créer des
lies of
soucis en
imperialist
Afrique.
media that
Parce
always
que
try to create
ces
problems in
médias,
Africa.
par leur bouche, ils peuvent vous rendre un roi demain.
Because
Par leur
these
bouche,
media,
ils
through their
peuvent vous faire
mouths,
quitter
can
votre
make you a
position de
king
roi
tomorrow.
et vous rendre
Through their
un
mouths, they
piètre
can make you
esclave
leave
demain.
your position as king
Faites
and make you a
attention.
poor slave tomorrow. Pay attention.
Je suivais une émission, malheureusement, il n'y a pas longtemps, burkinabé, où un jeune
I was
journaliste a
following a
sorti une
program,
phrase
unfortunately
qui
not
m'a
long
laissé
ago,
un peu perplexe.
in Burkina Faso,
Il parlait
where
de
a
la
young
Corée du Nord.
journalist released a sentence that
Et le
left me a little
journaliste a dit, mais
perplexed.
il meurt de faim en Corée du Nord. A-t-il pris le soin d'aller en Corée du Nord enquêter pour voir vraiment s'il meurt de faim?
He was talking about North Korea,
L'idée
and the
que les
journalist
médias
said,
impérialistes ont
but
vendu
he
la
is
Corée du
starving
Nord.
in
La
North
Corée du Nord est
Korea.
plus développée que beaucoup de pays européens. Et parce que ces
Has he
médias
taken care of
nous
going to
disent
North Korea to
la
investigate
Corée
to
du
see if
Nord,
he
c'est
is
la
really
dictature,
starving?
les gens meurent de faim, ils
Since
sont
imperialist
pauvres, ils
media
mangent
have sold North Korea,
Comment ça est-ce?
North Korea is more
La Corée du
developed
Nord
than
est
many
une puissance
European
nucléaire. Comment
countries.
est-ce qu'ils ont fait?
And because these media tell us that North Korea
Faisons
is a
attention à la
dictatorship,
communication.
people are starving, they are
Faut pas
poor,
suivre
they
de
have
manière
nothing, we
aveugle
take it here.
ces médias menteurs qui ne cherchent qu'à diviser l'Afrique. C'est
But
le
North
fait qu'ils
Korea
se
is a
battent pour
nuclear
les intérêts
power.
de leur peuple.
How did they do it?
Et
Let's
leur
pay
intérêt
attention
de
to
leur peuple,
communication.
c'est que l'Afrique
We
soit
must not
divisée.
blindly follow these lying
Alors,
media that only try to
jeunesse
divide Africa.
du Burkina, jeunesse d'Afrique, il faut qu'on
It is
puisse
logical. They fight for the interests of their people. And the interest of their people is that
la
Africa is
lâcheté.
divided.
Il faut bannir l'incompétence. Il faut
So,
bannir la
young
trahison
people of
à tous les
Burkina
niveaux de nos
Faso,
sociétés.
young people of Africa, we must unite. We must ban
Nous avons des
cowardice.
occasions
We must ban
de nous
incompetence.
parler. On rend grâce à Dieu de ces
We must
occasions
ban
qui nous font
treachery
chaque
and
fois
all
de
the
nous
risks in our
parler, de nous
society.
conscientiser. Et je vous invite à repartir encore lire.
We have the opportunity to speak. We thank God for these opportunities that we have each time to speak,
Soit une réalité. Pour que l'Afrique que nous voulons pour un
to raise
développement
awareness.
harmonieux
And I invite you
soit
to
une
spread the
réalité.
word, to get to
Parce que
work
je reviens
so that
sur
the
votre
Africa
thème.
that we want,
Il n'y a pas de
self-sufficient
paix et de
in terms of
sécurité
food,
sans
is a
développement.
reality.
Les deux vont de pair. S'il n'y a pas de développement, il n'y a pas
So
de
that
sécurité.
the Africa that we
Parce que
want
s'il y a
for
pas de
harmonious
développement,
development is a
la jeunesse
reality.
va forcément se retrouver dans les vices. Et il n'y aura pas de sécurité.
Let me finish because I return to your theme. There is no peace and security without development. The two go hand in hand. If there is no development, there is no security. Because if there is no development, the youth will inevitably find themselves in the vice and there will be no security. If there is no security, there is no development. So the two must go hand in hand. Let's integrate this in our fights so that we can fight and develop. Let's go towards production. Let's produce enough. Let's transform our raw materials so that they are beneficial for our populations and in terms of exportation. I wish you a very good day of reflection on the chosen theme and also on the essential role of youth in this fight. Good luck to all. May God make sure that all those who have made the trip return home in good health and that we can meet again when we wish it by the grace of God.
Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Once more, Timothy's Reactions is my name. Kindly, if you are come across for the first time watching this video, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channels, like, comment, and share. Let's make this video a viral so that many people can learn how Africa are now united to a Caribbean country. So Ibrahim Traore sends a warning to PM of Jamaica about uniting. So Ibrahim Traore is the Pan-African, is the president of Burkina Faso. He is now the most loved president in the world in terms of development, and also his stand and firm towards these Western countries. So Traore is now protected, and across all leaders are now protecting Traore from being eliminated, from being harassing by these people. So Traore has advising president of PM of Jamaica to follow his footsteps. He's told them that Jamaica must now wake up, it's a waking call, and must use its resources. We know that Jamaica can develop their own country using tourist attraction. The most tourist attraction country in the world now is Jamaica. Jamaica can use their own tourist attraction to develop their own country. They don't need to depend from this Western country. He has also said that PM must be respect and must listen the voice of people. Must listen the voice of people, must not be pupil to this Western country, because we know that this Western country is the people that uses us. They divide us so that they rule us. He said that Traore chased away France from Burkina Faso. So he said that PM of Jamaica must follow this. So these things of begging, this suit of praising these people must now stop. We must be independent. Our resources must be remain in our country. So he has now, when you go to Jamaica, Jamaica is the most loved country, but it has a lot of people are outside looking for green pasture. We do not need these people to go outside. These people must be remain in our country so that they can develop our country. He has said that Jamaica is the most loved. We know that, and we know in music industry, Jamaica in music industry is the most influential in terms of music industry. Look at Bob Marley. Look at, even when you go to this Western country, they are using Jamaica's music. Jamaica is the home of music. Jamaica is the leading. They are doing a very, very development. And now Ibrahim Traore has come out and has really challenging Jamaica from being begging these people, from being pupil to these people, from being coward to these people. We know that Jamaica has a lot of minerals. We know that it can develop. So we know that these people, when they planted a lot of lies to people, we Africans, so that we can fear another African. They said that when you go to Jamaica, you must be armed. Because of what? Each and everybody had guns. And we know who is the killer, who is possessing guns anyhowly. This United States, this Western countries, the one that working with the guns. They said that when Jamaica is a very racism country, we know who is the racism now. There's no any question you can ask who is the racism. They only have the answer, but they are using those terms so that they can divide we as African and Caribbean. These people, they have been even traveling, they have putting sanction to this Jamaica, that you cannot travel to this country. When Caribbean or Jamaica wants to come to Africa, he must pass through this Western country so that he cannot come. We need to have direct flight from Africa to Caribbean. We need to have direct flight from Caribbean to Africa. These things of traveling to this country, we must stop. So these things, they have planted a lot of lies to we as African. They say that when you go to Africa, Africa is in security, and yes, we are in security, and these people are the one who are sponsoring these gangs. So now they spoil a lot of names to these countries, to these black people, so that these black people hate us. And we know we are peace, and we are okay. We have opened our eyes. We are seeing what these people has done to our generation, and we will not allow this thing to continue. We need to stop this right as now. We have said that this liberation that has been started by Ibrahim Traore will not stop now until we reclaim our own colonialism. We want to do away with this colonialism. We want to chase this colonialism for our country. This imperialism is the one which is affecting our development agenda. We as Africa, I did a last video which Lumumba were advising we as Africa to united so that we can defeat this Western country. This Western country has been using us for so long, and we need now to come out and defend our own country. We need to develop our own resources. When you come now to Nigeria, Nigeria is the leading supplier of oil, but you can ask yourself, is that oil benefiting the people of Nigeria? Is that oil benefiting any person in Nigeria? They are coming in our country and stole our own resources so that the resources build their own countries. As I conclude, we Africa and Caribbean, we love each other. That's why Ibrahim Traore has really advising the Prime Minister of Jamaica, do this and this and this. And that is the love that we want now. That is the revolution that we want now. That is what we want now. And these people do not want to listen from us. These people have used us for so long. They have killed our own leader. Let's build the generation. Let our children live to remember that our fathers did this and this, so that let's that in 2023 that 7 pillar must be implemented full, so that our children will live to remember us. Kindly, if you watch this video for the first time, remember to subscribe, like, share and comment. Let me see more comment about this video, and let's make this video viral so that many people can learn and also open up eyes. Bye for now.